So former President Jacob Zuma will be facing a disciplinary hearing with the ANC today. This comes after Zuma's suspension from the party following his announcement that he would be campaigning for the MK party for the 2024 elections. The process was due to take place in May, but the ANC postponed it due to security concerns. So what will happen to Zuma at the disciplinary hearing? And let's now look at the timeline of these events in this story. We bring you political analyst Mpumelelo Phungula. Mpumelelo, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you, Aldrin. Good morning to you and the viewers. Thanks for having me.
I want to start off here because the disciplinary hearing is happening after the elections, and that's a decision that the ANC had taken, and they believe that it was the right decision because they wanted to focus on the elections, and they also saw that perhaps the former president could position himself as a victim if the ANC was to expel him, and that would lead to further misfortune for the ANC at the polls. Now, considering the outcome of the election results, that the ANC only managed to get 40%, and also what happened in KwaZulu-Natal, where the MK party managed to get 45%, in hindsight, do you think that that strategy actually worked for the ANC?
Yes, Aldrin, I think the strategy did work. You would know that the ANC itself had done internal polling to establish where the party would fall post the elections, and they already knew, according to their own research, that they would fall below 50, but they were hoping to at least reach about 47. Ideally, they wanted, obviously, 50 plus 1, but they did not anticipate that it would go as low as 40%. Nonetheless, I think the strategy may have somewhat worked. The ANC could have possibly fell even lower, because had you given the former president, Jacob Zuma, more publicity in the form of making him look more like a victim just a month or so before the election, it could have caused even a greater dent, because it would have given him a platform, as it usually happens when he goes to court. It would have given him a platform to be on the media even more, and also to address supporters outside the disciplinary venue. So I think it did assist.
Yeah. What then do you say to some alliance partners who are saying that it was long overdue, that the ANC should have dealt with this matter immediately when the former president on the 16th of December announced that he will be supporting the MK party? And mind you, that at the time he said them supporting the MK party, not that he will be leading the party, but later on it became him leading the party. And right now, essentially sitting on the opposition benches, where, for instance, in Parliament, as well as in KZN.
Yes, Aldrin, it's not a decision that the ANC could have taken haphazardly. We see the evidence of that, given how relatively well the MK party performed, which is led by Jacob Zuma. So the ANC did need to give itself time to process the whole thing and delay the actual hearing of Mr. Zuma's disciplinary matter, because, like I said in the initial response, that the ANC did need to deprive him of more media attention around this matter, and also to ensure that they do not run a process where they might actually, because given the charges that he's brought the party into disrepute for campaigning, and now we know that starting being a founder of an opposition party would have meant a direct dismissal for him, unless really something outrageous happens. So the ANC constitution is quite clear. Its members need to obey or toe a certain line of discipline. Mr. Jacob Zuma did not toe that line. So it was holding the DC before the election would have meant that possibly expelling Jacob Zuma from the party and giving him a greater platform to mobilize around those issues, because you would remember that even now, like you hinted earlier, with some of the alliance partners, there are people within the ANC who sympathize or who empathize with Jacob Zuma's sentiments around where the ANC is currently. So you would not want to give him a platform to further mobilize the people who've remained in the ANC to try and fight internally, or to try and work out whatever issues they perceive have engulfed the ANC internally.
Yeah. Okay, so when we look at the charges, and I'm going to specifically go to the one around the contravention of acts of misconduct, section 25, subsection 17.13 of the ANC's constitution, joining or supporting a political organization or party other than an organization in alliance with the ANC in a manner contrary to the aims, objectives, and policies of the ANC. For some people, it is a clear cut that the former president is in contravention of that particular section. But what should we read into the former president going ahead with the disciplinary hearing with the intention of defending his action, and also, as he said before, that I will die an ANC member, which also brings me to this question about what is it in a membership? What is that sentimental value in being a member of the ANC, specifically for somebody like Jacob Zuma, who has gone ahead to start a political party?
I mean, the ANC is a mammoth organization. It's the biggest, or it's the first liberation movement in the continent, not only in South Africa. And it has a great history, which former President Jacob Zuma has been a great part of. You remember that he served at the highest level of the organization since the early 1970s. He's almost been a member of the NEC of the ANC, which is the highest decision-making body, for 50 years today. This year. So that's a very rich history. He's been part of the struggle for apartheid alongside other struggle heroes, and that's no mean feat. He's led the organization as a president of the organization, which is the highest position anybody can rise to. So it's an organization that is definitely known and served for most of his life, and he's had other stalwarts that he served alongside, who was in the NEC when there was still Oliver Tambo as president. Sure. So that sort of history alongside
but that history will never be erased. That particular history will never be erased. It will always be there. But I'm trying to get to what sentimentally, what is the value of remaining a member of the ANC, a political party that you have now campaigned against during the elections, and the ANC itself and some of its members saying that this person has betrayed the party. The Secretary General of the ANC saying that if it was not for the formation of the MK party, they believe that the ANC would have won the elections. So sentimentally, what is in it? Because the history still remains there.
Yes, on top of him, his personal history with the ANC, he is also aware that the ANC still resonates with the majority of South African voters. So it's not an organization that it would have been so easy for him to leave. It's easier for him to go this route where he's actually expelled from the ANC, because it also gives him some political mileage to say he did not leave the ANC he fought within until the end. So I think he was also aware that given the political dynamics in the ANC now, and that his political opponent, internal political opponent, Mr. Ramaphosa, is the president, and that his position is quite entrenched right now, it would have been difficult for him to fight and win internally. But it was still worthwhile to put up the fight so as to maintain that image that is thrived under, being the victim of political conspiracies and other like political machinations by his political opponents. So it was easier for him to go this route.
Quick one.
Stay within the ANC.
All right, quick one. If the ANC DC decides to expel him, I don't know if he's going to appeal that, if there is an expulsion. But if eventually the final decision, even after the appeals committee of the ANC, is to expel the former president of the ANC, considering that there are some sympathizers of the ANC still, of Jacob Zuma still within the ANC, do you think that there's a possibility that if that decision is taken, that there could be more ANC members who would leave the party to join the MK party?
Indeed, Adrian, I think some people might join Mr. Jacob Zuma, but remember others, given that the ANC is still the leader of the GNU and there's still some patronage to disperse, some people will remain and try to fight internally and hope that the dynamics will change come the next ANC conference, and that they might have a chance to actually use the same issues that Mr. Jacob Zuma has raised as being problematic in the ANC, the ANC of Ramaphosa, as he puts it, to actually campaign using those issues and try to displace Mr. Ramaphosa or those in his faction in the next elected conference. But others might leave with Mr. Jacob Zuma, given especially if they see an opportunity to get positions within the MK party or other political parties where opportunities may arise for them.
Thank you so much for your time.
Remember, Aldrin, that...
Unfortunately, Mpumelelo, we've run out of time. Really appreciate your time. Political analyst Mpumelelo Phungula, speaking on the upcoming disciplinary hearing of the former ANC President Jacob Zuma.